Hey everyone, it is Thursday, January 25th, 2018, and it's time to go to work on music. It's been a fantastic day. I'm in a really good place and excited for a productive session as usual. Um, yeah, just spending some time online earlier today doing a little bit of social media learning and growth and growing my knowledge there and going a little bit beyond just my music business class, which has some good tips about the big picture of using social media and some good tips about the small picture of what the instructor herself does. But I'm looking to deepen my knowledge in a couple different avenues and just get a couple different perspectives so that I can have a good strategy once I start really, you know, leaning in there. And I just realized like I'm still in that phase where I'm not totally sure exactly what I'm doing. I'm kind of a novice. I'm just getting my feet wet and I'm just kind of playing around, having fun with it, and letting myself suck at it for a little while. And I've been thinking a lot recently about how powerful that is when developing a new skill and how important it is to just allow yourself to not be great at it from the beginning. You know, most people don't start out great at something when they're just beginning. And for some reason, I think for some of us there can be this fear of being bad at something, and especially social media because it's a very public um, venue. It feels very public, but I think when you don't have that many followers and you're just starting out, that is the ideal time to experiment it and make mistakes and learn. And I feel like every post I make these days, I learn something about it that's going to make the next post better or help me get more traction. And I think a lot of it is just about being in the game and then being curious about how to improve, not just blindly, doing stuff and being like, oh, I hope it works out, but really doing it with intention to learn and grow and allowing yourself to just not be that good at it and take and make mistakes and maybe even get made fun of and have people talk trash. I mean, it's like, hey, look, I'm a beginner, like say whatever you want. um, like check me out in a couple years when I've made all these mistakes into really great knowledge and I'm like a great performer. It's I think it's just about being willing to suffer that initial pain, that little bit of emotional pain, and self judgment. I think is what it really is. It's like if you're confident in yourself, you don't even really care a lot of times what other people think. Or if you care, you don't let that bother you. You don't let it get to you. But it's like when you're judging yourself and you're like really insecure about it, that can stop you from being the person who you want to be. And I noticed that pattern in myself, and I'm happy that I'm getting over that. And it's been a process over the last few years, but yeah. Anyway, just kind of some thoughts from the day. And yeah, I am making a little more time in the music sessions to dive deep into that stuff, and it's great. I think Thursdays are a good time for me to do that because I typically do a reasonably heavy workout on Wednesday nights, and so Thursdays I'm a little more fatigued. So it's a good time for me to do some more passive stuff in the music session instead of doing like 3 hours of drum tracking or something like that. It's good to put that earlier in the week, like Mondays, Tuesdays, etc. So Sundays as well. So yeah, what I'm going to do today is jump in the online class front real quick, just share a quick update there. Going to get a little bit of drum work in and have a pretty light practice session there, but also get a little deeper into the Benny Greb material I'm working through right now. Then going to jump into the production front and work on polishing up the horn arrangement at the end of the bridge section of this new song, and then doing a little bit of work on the guitar solo, starting to learn that and kind of author that, compose that a little bit more fully, which I started last night. I may do some editing on the first tune's drums, but I've sort of realized like I might just want to leave that as is, just to give it a different flavor and give it some different authenticity, or I may just do that a different day. I'm not sure. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions. Let's get right into it. Okay, definitely an interesting first half of the session here today. It was definitely on the short side, and that's just because I've been giving myself a little more leeway before sessions to kind of ease into things and like blurring the lines a little bit as far as the timing boundaries go. And I'm not totally sure how I feel about that. I'm going to experiment with going back to a more rigid system in the next couple days and let you guys know what is the best for me. But yeah, that I don't know. It could go either way at this point. But I did jump into the online class front and did a little bit of research on social media post scheduling software, and that's kind of like marketing automation where you just sit down maybe for like an hour a week and collect a bunch of content related to your the culture of your page, and then you use the program to schedule those posts throughout the week. So let's say you're posting 6 times a day, Monday through Friday, then you get 30 different pieces of content, you put that all together, and then the scheduler just posts it for you whenever. And then you can still post things organically when you want to, like maybe once a day or something, and then you can react and comment and engage with people as they engage with the posts. But it just seems like an efficient way of doing things, and also a good way to keep from getting sucked into the distractions of social media on like an hourly basis. And there might be a lot of posting to do on an hourly or daily basis depending on what your strategy is. So I think it's really interesting, but it also turns out it's kind of a deep subject, so I got sucked into some stuff there, and that's just how that stuff goes. So it was productive, and I'm learning a lot. I'm really thinking a lot about differentiating brands and the type of content I'm posting, and like whether I want to post personal things on my music page, whether I want to, I think the goal for me right now is differentiation, because I have all these different interests and ideas about what I can put out content wise. But as a musician with your artist page, I'm starting to realize it's less about what I want to be posting, and it's much more about having empathy for my audience and posting stuff that they're going to like, and that's going to be engaging for them. It's like a service that I'm providing. It's like a job. So I'm looking for ways to differentiate my content so that the stuff that I just want to get my thoughts out into the world or something like that, like a blog, is maybe going to be separate from my music brand, which I think is a good idea. So I'm considering creating just a wholly different brand based around that kind of stuff, and just kind of playing with that and having fun with it, but keeping the music stuff more focused on the culture of what people who are into my music are really excited about and interested in, which is kind of a revelation. I mean, I sort of knew that, but I hadn't really put it into practice, if that makes sense. So that was good. And then I did some more Benny Greb stuff, and he was talking about using the movable click, which is not just getting comfortable using click tracks on the downbeat of quarter notes, but also getting used to practicing with the click as the upbeat, and then also as 16th note beats. So you use the click as the first, second, or third 16th note, or fourth 16th note in a phrase. So it's like boom, chick, bop, chick, boom, chick, bop, chick, boom, chick, bop, chick, something like that. To get you more comfortable with the accuracy of those subdivisions, which I think is a really powerful and interesting exercise that I'm going to start getting deeper into. So I started working on that with the click as an upbeat, just improvising, just sort of getting my feet wet with that, and I'll hopefully design some good exercises over the next couple weeks that'll help me develop the types of phrasing and stuff that I want within that timing. I also did a little bit of the drop click exercise. That's been good so far, just kind of easing my way into that. Again, I'll probably design a more structured approach around that as I continue to evolve with that. But yeah, I think the main thing I'm thinking about right now is I'm starting to juggle so many different moving parts now that I'm not just thinking about developing musically, but also thinking about developing on the business front, that I think segmenting those things in my mind, segmenting them time-wise as far as what I'm spending time on and when, and then segmenting them in terms of how I'm putting that out into the world is going to be productive, because otherwise I think the message can kind of get lost, the focus can get a little bit confused, and it's not as potent, it's not as powerful, And it doesn't mean there isn't cross-pollination from time to time, but I'm thinking about brand focus, and I think that that's really important the more that I think about it. So let me know if you guys have any thoughts on that. I'm going to take a short break, have some food, and then dive back in. All right, definitely not the worst day overall that I've had recently, but for sure not the best. I mean, I realized that one of the big mistakes I made today is I didn't have a clear plan time-wise of what I was going to be doing when for the session, and so I just didn't have clear demarcations of like, okay, from this time to this time I'm doing this, from this time to this time I'm going to move on and do this. And that often leads to just having some wishy-washy sort of stuff happen. So if something comes up and I get into it, then it sort of can take me off course as versus what the priorities were for the day. So like everything I focused on today theoretically moved me forward, but it wasn't necessarily like the highest ROI stuff that I want to be focusing on right now. So that's a good lesson. I did make a little bit of time to dive deeper on the social media front after my break, and that was productive. I did some research on some Instagram hashtags and figured out what's going on with some things that I'm considering for my micro niche, and it looks like there really isn't a ton going on in those spaces, and that could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. And the way it could be good is I have the opportunity to make an impact, and the way it could be bad is there's just not that many people searching or viewing those hashtags, which means that's not where people's attention is. So that's something to think about and definitely something to explore. But really, I think the main focus for me in the next couple of months is getting this record done, and I do want to keep growing and learning on the social media front. That's just not the priority right now. So I'm looking for the right balance of those things. From there, I got into editing yesterday's vlog. That was good. Reminded me of some key concepts I was thinking about yesterday. And then I did listen back to the horn takes I was editing yesterday, and those are in good shape for the bridge section. They can use a little bit of editing, and if I had managed today's time a little better, I probably could have knocked that out and got that done, which would have been huge. So I definitely am not feeling great about that. It's definitely a loss. And then same thing with the guitar solo. I listened to the sketches I did yesterday, picked the one or two that I like the best, and I'm going to start working on those. In fact, I did start working on them very briefly, but I probably could have made some more headway on that if I had just managed my time better. So it's really just all about making sure I have a clear plan of what the priorities are, because there's so many different things I could be working on right now, and I want to make sure I'm working on the highest leverage stuff and that I'm keeping my word with myself so that I can just feel good about executing at the end of the day. And that's something that's really important for me. Like, I could do a lot of work in a day, but if I don't feel like I hit the stuff that I wanted and needed to hit, then I don't always feel satisfied. And so I try to set my life up to make sure that I can feel good about the progress I make on a day in, day out basis. So it's a good mistake. I'm happy that I made it, and I think it'll make me better going forward, but it also feels sort of like a familiar thing that I'm battling, and I want to just do a better job on that front, if that makes sense. So overall, positive day. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process. That's what I'm out here doing. I'm off tomorrow, but I'll see you guys on Saturday for more, and I can't wait to hit the grind again and just do a much better job staying focused on the goals at hand. I'll see you guys then.